We are back, everybody. I am jcontra, and now to finish off today's series of Famicom streams, we are playing Pinball. This was released in 1984. Actually, let me double check and see what the date was on this. So this would have been February. Yeah, so well, at least in Japan. So this actually did come out in North America on the arcade. It also came out on the disc system. Oh, wait, hold on. Did this? Yeah, yeah. Okay, so it came out in '85 in America, with the NES, more or less, and then but it had come out the year before in Japan in February. And so the thing is that in 1984, in Japan, January, like, all they had was tennis. You had tennis come out in January. I think it was January 15th. And then you had pinball come out in February. So if you were a Famicom owner at the time, the pickings were real slim. And because honestly, it's like, having played through all of the 1983 selection, like, the games are pretty good, and you can't really actually expect a whole lot from them, considering that most of them are just straight up arcade ports. See, I mean, you've got Donkey Kong, that's classic. Donkey Kong Jr., which was pretty good. Popeye is okay. But aside from that, I mean, you've got the two educational games, which aren't really fun. And then you come to this. Then you come to Pinball. And actually, Pinball is a very interesting choice for Nintendo to have made into a Famicom game. Because for one, it looks like... Okay, so it was an arcade in 1984. So I'm guessing this was, a co-release. Or I don't know if it was developed for the arcade first, or if it was developed for the Famicom first. But either way, I really would wonder. Am I not streaming properly? Hold on, I gotta double check. I mean, it says I'm outputting on my... Okay, no, I'm streaming. That's good. For some reason, my stream had failed on my computer. Apologies for that. But pinball is a weird choice because I've lived in Japan for going on 6 years now. I have never seen a pinball machine in real life. Now, I know pinball at least was a thing in Japan. I've actually seen pictures of museums in Japan where they have all of these pinball machines set up. And I will bet you anything that pinball didn't really take off because, first of all, it's expensive. Like, you're talking about these, like, specialty, boutique machines that need special parts and everything to take care of. That's already hassle enough. That's why you don't see them in America much anymore. But just the space they take up, it's not like, a stand-up arcade machine, which, takes up a small amount of floor space because it's mostly vertical. Imagine, I mean, what is a pinball but an arcade machine that is like 2 or even 3 times the floor space of a normal arcade machine. So Japan honestly doesn't even really have the space for an arcade. So I've never seen one. I've been to tons. Oh, we're in the zone. This is a crazy zone that you sometimes, once you go into one of those holes off the side, you go into here. And who's the lady at the top? This is some Nintendo lore that I'm very interested in, because the top person, it's not Pauline because she's not blonde haired, unless she dyed her hair or something. But it's not Olive Oil. I mean, it kind of looks like Olive Oil because she has the black hair and the pink dress. I wonder. I'd be very interested if there's some fanfic involving her. I'm playing on the B setting, by the way. Actually, can we get out of this? No. It's not like Donkey Kong Jr. Math where you can just exit out. But so there's two kind of main settings going on. There's the A. So every Nintendo game that's come out so far has had basically game A and game B. Game A is like the easy mode. It's everything kind of moves a bit slower. I guess enemies don't aggro on you as fast or as quickly or as strongly. And then there's B. B is your pro mode, where at least in terms of pinball, the only change I have observed so far is that the ball goes faster. And having played this now, it actually kind of seems to have laid the foundation for Pokemon Pinball. You remember Pokemon Pinball, or is it Pikachu's Pinball? There was a pinball game featuring Pokemon that came out for the Game Boy Color sometime in the 90s. And it was nuts because it had a battery pack. Here, we're going to go to A, and I'm going to show two-player. I wonder how two-player works. I don't have a second controller that works, so I can't get it in all its glory. We're going to show you. I was just playing part B. Now we're in part A, or I guess difficulty A, and the ball just moves just a slower. That gives you a lot more reaction time. Yeah, it's just the easy mode. Oh, here we go. Because I've seen things in here where I don't know how it's happened, but I think the more numbers you hit, the more those blue platforms that are beneath the lady start to disappear. So I don't know if you're trying to free her or what. Or maybe the more of the colors that you can get, maybe if the more I can turn it... Oh, never mind. And it's gone. Oh. Pikachu's Pinball, or Pokemon Pinball, that was pretty crazy. There was Sonic's Pinball that came out for the Mega Drive. I actually have that, and I haven't played much of it yet. But pinball games for the consoles, I guess, were fun. I remember playing a lot of the Space Pinball for Microsoft, for Windows. What Windows was that? Was that 98 or 2000? What was that? I think, you know what I had? I had the Millennium Edition. I remember my parents bought, what was it, a Gateway? Or was it XP that pinball game came out for? I spent a lot of time playing that pinball game, I'll tell you what. Do kids even know what pinball is anymore? Like, if I was talking to, say, a 16-year-old, would they know what pinball is? Because pinball machines don't come out that much anymore. I think, it's been so long since I've even played one in real life. But that's also because I moved to Japan, where, once again, I have not seen a pinball game ever here. Not a machine, at least. I've seen them, there's and maybe pinball never really took off in Japan because Japan has had pachinko. And especially in a format like this, where, normally a pinball machine's supposed to be horizontal, but that you're playing this vertically. Because that obviously makes more sense in terms of a television. But isn't pachinko kind of just pinball, but vertical, in a sense? So, maybe Japan has had pinball this whole time. It's just got its own version of pinball, and they call it pachinko. But then again, even pachinko these days, they don't even have it's not the, balls that you shoot up and that you just kind of wait to come down. Pachinko has evolved into pachinko slot machines, where you've got the slots going on and the balls going all around. And it's, I've never actually been in a real pachinko parlor. I've never played a real game of pachinko in a pachinko parlor once. I did, actually. You can tell the difference. There's a lot of ways to tell the difference between a room in a normal hotel and the room in a love hotel. One of the main differences is that a love hotel will almost always have a pachinko machine in it, a slot machine. I actually saw One of my friends on Facebook was like, guys, look at my sweet hotel room that I found. And it had a pachinko machine in it. And I'm like, that's not a normal hotel room, honey. Like, oh boy, you shouldn't have put that on the Facebooks, but whatever. But as for the Famicom pinball machine, this is it. You don't get multiple machines. Besides that bonus stage, the Nether Realm, as I like to call it, this is it. This is what people had to enjoy in February of 1984. It's, I guess it's sort of fun. Honestly, after playing tennis for the last entry of the streams, tennis is actually pretty good. I thought that was pretty fun. But pinball, like, this is it. I mean, better than Donkey Kong Jr. Math, not better than tennis, to be quite honest. I guess I could tell the story about how I got this game. So I'm in the process of trying to collect every Famicom game, and I'm doing it by year. I've finished 1983, as you can tell from all the streams that I've done. And I am just one Famicom Basic away from having a complete 1984 set. I went to Kita Kyushu yesterday. Kita Kyushu is actually very interesting. It's a very interesting city because it's in the prefecture of Fukuoka. It's actually a very large city. It's almost as large as Fukuoka, which is the largest city on Kyushu. And it's a big industrial hub, so it's got a lot of stuff. It's not as nice as Fukuoka City, but it's still pretty good. And from where I live now, it's actually easier to get to Kita Kyushu than it is to get to Fukuoka. So I went up yesterday. One, because I had some bank stuff that I had to sort out. Two, because I wanted to see the movie Dunkirk, which came out 3 months later than everywhere else in Japan than around the world. Plus, I wanted to go look at this really cool, I guess you would say otaku mall, where they have a maid cafe there. They've had a mandarake forever. And then within the last year, I want to say, they opened up a Surugaya specialty store. And I've actually, while I was there yesterday, I filmed a tour of both the mandarake and Surugaya. And Surugaya actually had some really amazing games at some, I would say, fair prices. So I definitely want to go back with a bunch of cash and buy things. I only ended up I bought Pinball, I bought Wild Gunman, and I bought Urban Champion. Because those are all 1984 Famicom games. And, oh my god, Surugaya really pissed me off because they put stickers, I guess for inventory purposes, on the cartridge. And one of the stickers got caught on the back sticker of the game, so now I have a ripped label on my pinball cartridge. Thank God. I mean, it's, a cheap cartridge, so it's whatever. But thank God they didn't put that on an expensive-ass game, or I would have been really pissed. But then again, it was also my own fault. If I had pulled off the sticker on top of the label, if I had pulled it off slower, I wouldn't have ripped it. But I'm gonna say it's 60-40, their fault, my fault. I would like to play a Japanese pinball game. I wonder if they've got, because in America, they don't have really any unique pinball games anymore, their own IP. It's usually some license, like a Lord of the Rings pinball, or, they probably made a War for Planet of the Apes pinball, which is a real shame. But then again, these are really expensive machines, and it would be really cool to have my own pinball machine. But actually, maybe I would do the maintenance myself. That would be really cool. I like little mechanical apparatuses. I do like building my own stuff. So not making a pinball machine, but definitely restoring one, I think would be pretty cool. Although very expensive and time consuming. Although I already have enough consoles that I gotta fix. I really gotta fix up my Turbo Duo. My Turbo Duo, that was one of the first, it was kind of stupid of me to take a Turbo Duo and try and make that the first my first console restoration project, because the contact pads for the Turbo Duo are so small that if you screw up doing the soldering, you're going to end up like just pulling the pads and causing all sorts of problems. And Turbo Duos are notorious for having leaky capacitors, so the Turbo Duo that I bought, it worked for the first day, but then the sound crapped out after like an hour of playing, and I had to recap the whole system, and this is my first time ever soldering anything. And I actually ended up doing a pretty good job with everything except 1 or 2 contact pads, and now my Turbo Duo only gives sound out through 1 channel, which sucks. I do have a Duo R now, which I love, and I can't wait to actually get around to playing games for it, but I really want to play Rondo of Blood. I just need to, you know, spend the $200 on Rondo of Blood. Although the Turbo Duo is really nice because, much like the 3DO, you allegedly can play burned games on it without needing any modification. Not that I would recommend anybody ever do that, because it's illegal and you should not do it. It's just allegedly something you can do, but it's something you shouldn't do, ever. Let's do... Okay, we got 1 ball left. I think after this. Yeah, I haven't... Not much to say about Pinball. It's a fine game. You're not going to hit any glitches. But it's pretty basic. Much like tennis, it's basic. And even though tennis was basic but fun, this, I guess, could be fun. But it's got, you know, it's got a lot of weird stuff. It's got that slot thing up there that's only got, like... It's got 3, 7, and, like, a spade. And then it's got this Royal Flush card game going on up top. Yeah. See, like, sometimes there's just balls you're not going to hit. And I've never gotten a high enough score to where I could get extra balls, and I don't really want to try. Although, you know what, actually, hold on. I want to show you something. Because I noticed, maybe it's just my brain, but look at this image very carefully. Does this look like a face? Because if you look at it, if you look at the 100, if you look at those bumpers, or well, I don't know what you'd call them. You got the 2 pink ones, and then you've got the orange one below them. Like, you know, you got the two here, and then the one. You got the 2 here, and you got the 1 down here. Those to me look like eyes, and the nose, and then you've got the eggs. That's the mouth. And actually, kind of looks like he's got 2 horns. This, to me, really looks like Bowser. Like, I don't know if it's just my brain seeing it, but this kind of looks like Bowser to me. I don't know. That's just my controversial opinion that I'm giving out here on this stream. But yeah. So that's been Pinball for the Famicom. I don't even know what we have up next. Let me bring that out. I got a big spreadsheet of all the Famicom games that I have. What's going to be coming up next? I think next week we're going to tackle... Well, we should be tackling Wild Gunman, but I don't have the Zapper yet. So we're going to skip over Wild Gunman. That also came out in February. And we're not going to do Duck Hunt, which apparently... So Wild Gunman comes out in February, and then Duck Hunt comes out in April. There was like a 2-month gap where the newest game was Wild Gunman. I guess they thought it was such a good enough game that people were going to play it for 2 months. Looks like the next game we're going to put up is Golf. We're going to do Golf. We're going to skip Famicom. We're going to skip Family Basic because I don't have it yet. We're going to do Golf. We're going to do Donkey Kong, and we're going to do Nuts and Milk. Actually, that Nuts and Milk is going to be another landmark for the series, because that is the first third-party game to come out for the Famicom. It was released by Hudson, I believe. So look forward to that. I'm going to try and do that next Sunday, because I don't think I have anything going on. So stay tuned for Sunday morning Japanese Standard Time, Saturday night Eastern Standard. Yeah, that's been it for me. I've been jcontra playing Pinball for the Famicom. See you next time. Thanks for watching, and mahalo.